Hi guys, my name is James and my topic for discussion is leadership. So in this video, I'll be discussing some of my findings from the class text, Foundations of Sports Exercise Psychology, and I'll be relating them to examples from the movie Coach Carter. Okay, so firstly, what is leadership? As defined by the textbook, leadership is the process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. There's a lot that goes into being a good leader, and I look forward to talking about it with you guys as I progress through the video. Hopefully by the end, you'll have your own personal definition of leadership, and that will be meaningful to you and hopefully help you be more of a leader in life. So with relation to sport and exercise, some aspects of leadership include decision-making, providing feedback, motivating team members, establishing interpersonal relationships, and directing the group or team with confidence. A leader knows the team's vision or purpose and what things are necessary in order to achieve that common goal. To provide an example from the film Coach Carter, Coach Ken Carter was firm in his stance and made it known that he had a standard by which his players were to uphold. This was made very clear when he sat his team down and presented them with contracts stating they must maintain a 2.3 GPA, sit up front of their classes, and wear shirt and tie on game day. In doing this, Coach Carter sets the precedent that these are my standards. If you don't agree, you're not on the team. If you do, then let's get to work. When some of the players breached the rules of the contract, Coach punished the whole team by chaining up the gym doors and withdrawing the team from competition, which put his own job at risk. This is followed by a later scene where Coach Carter is in the library with his players. Some of the guys on the team were failing to see the bigger picture, so Coach broke it down for them by bringing to light some of the harsh realities they face living in Richmond. He has an open conversation with his boys, where he explains why he does some of the things he does. He confronts the players about the unforgiving nature of their environment and what it means to be a part of a disadvantaged demographic. He said, 50% of students from Richmond High go to college. In this county alone, 1 in 3 black males aged 18 to 24 will be arrested. Growing up in Richmond, you're 80% more likely to go to prison than to go to college. And in here lies the message Coach is trying to get his team to understand. Work harder for a better life. And that better life can be achieved through obtaining a college scholarship. This is why he's so adamant that his boys take their academics and education seriously. Right before he's about to leave, he says to them, I want you to go home tonight and look at your lives. Look at your parents' lives and ask yourself, do I want better? By doing this, Coach Carter plants a seed in the mind of his players. He challenges them to ask more from themselves and that they can do more to create a better life for them and their families. I believe this to be a great example of transformational leadership, which is when the leader takes a visionary position and inspires people to follow that vision and supportively work with each other to excel. He exhibits this style of leadership by using inspiring communication, intellectual stimulation, by demanding and directing certain behaviors, and having instances of personal recognition, just to name a few. Coach Carter's style of leadership is quite diverse, and he is able to adapt how he leads depending on the situation and who he is leading. For the most part, especially when he is new to the group and still getting to know the team and establish relationships, he employs more of an autocratic approach, which I think is necessary as he's dealing with some individuals who are quite stubborn and lack discipline. So it's important that he stands firm and shows conviction in his actions and a true belief in what he's doing. That conviction, the same kind of conviction he displayed when putting his job on the line, inevitably transcends to his players, and I think one player who benefited the most from their time with Coach Carter would be the most stubborn, most erratic of them all, Timo Cruz. Timo's character development throughout the film is probably the most powerful example of how painful yet rewarding the process of change can be. He goes from being a cocky, know-it-all type to experiencing a complete disillusion of his ego and ultimately attributing his change of heart and improved perspective on life to Coach Carter. In Timo's infamous "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate" scene, he proclaims his gratitude towards Coach Carter. He says, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Sir, I just want to say thank you. You saved my life. This really shows the magnitude of how impactful Coach Carter was on Timo. In that quote I just mentioned, there's an essence of conviction. in that Timo feels it's important that people be themselves unapologetically, and maybe in doing so, they might help liberate someone else from their own preconceived mental barriers. That act of being true to themselves might inspire the person observing to break out of their own boxes. So my takeaways from both this film and the text are that being a leader is not for the faint of heart. It takes a real acknowledgement of responsibility and a lot of patience and persistence. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to it. There's a whole host of factors that need to be considered when being a leader. Some situations lend themselves to an autocratic approach. Some might invite a democratic, collaborative style. It might involve both. Leadership is difficult to summarize as there's so many components to consider. An open mind must always be kept, and the best, most effective leaders will use a combination of different approaches to achieve the outcome they desire. Leadership is essentially an art. So that's all for my video. Thank you, ma'am, and whoever stumbles upon this video for taking the time to watch. Before I end, I'd like to leave you guys with a question to think about, and that is, how can you become more of a leader in your life? Thank you.